Rugby League is back.
Drum roll, please.
You're a true Warriors fan.
I have no recollection of that hot take.
We don't all have to agree.
It's good to be back.
It's just a really boring thing.
Oh, partner.
Start winning some games.
I think there'll be a lot of changes to the team.
I've got them making the 8 for mine.
Let's go. Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Advantage Line, TAB's Rugby League betting podcast. My name is Cal Tiley, joined in studio by the great man, Paul Mawate. Paul, the Warriors are the real deal, my friend.
Oh, are they the real deal? All right. They were morals last week. I can't remember who said that. They were morals. And they duly delivered as well with one of the most impressive wins at Shark Park in recent times.
Teddy, I'm going to give the floor to you. Welcome in. Wax lyrical about Warriors, please.
What's more impressive, the Warriors run or the run of the Morals Corps? Because the Morals Corps will be top of the table if we're going. That's absolutely airborne at the moment. Every team wants that little kiss of little morals.
I struggled betting this week, so I'm waiting for it till later. So I'm hopefully there's one or two flowing around. But please, Teddy, give us how good were the Wars?
Very, very impressive. Very, very impressive. Luke Metcalf was winning the Dally M's before it went into closed doors. I certainly don't think he's gone backwards in the last couple of weeks. He was exceptional again. I thought they really covered for Barnett really well. I thought Heka Lakasema played fantastic. Dimitri had a ripping game, and I've been kind of on his case. I've been critical of the comparison between the two because I think Heka is a much better player, but he had a ripper on the weekend. I'm not going to the last names.
And his brother Licker. Heka and his brother Licker Halasuma. They were outstanding.
So I was just reading about Heka Nanai.
Oh, we're not going to lick it. You let that down.
We call him the Butcher of Orange.
Oh, wow. My dad is the Butcher of Orange, so there's something there.
Blake, have you ever seen a performance from a young brigade of players like that to give great hope in the future of a club?
No, not that I can think of in recent time, especially like with the Warriors. I mean, Licker Halasima, 19 years of age.
Is he as good as his brother Heka, though?
That's yet to be determined. But he was outstanding. I thought 80 minutes, and he's starting to prove himself as a genuine NRL player, like not coming off the bench, a starter. He's played 4 or 5 games, 80 minutes. But the biggest impression for me was Dimitri Vaimonga. He was someone who was asked to actually play more minutes. Not only did he play more, I mean, offload, try assist, try.
What about that pass?
Yeah.
That was outstanding. I reckon that was one of the passes of the year. That no looker. I looked at the back and just like hit him in the belly. It was fantastic.
The best thing about the young guys and those two, Licker and Dimitri in particular, they've obviously been given the green light to play how they want to play, do what they see. But what Warriors fans will know this, we've seen in the past, is like when players have the ability to offload, sometimes they get that stuck in their head that they have to offload no matter the situation. Whereas I find these guys, they'll have the ball free, they'll have a quick look, nah, not on, tuck it under the wing, go to ground. But when it's there, I think Dimitrik's had about 4, 5, 6 offloads in the last 2 games, and it's opened up play.
Yeah.
It's so good to watch.
Andrew Webster in the post match actually said that we didn't want them to be a Barnett. We're not asking them to be like that. And his exact words were, we said to them, express yourself. So talking about expressing yourself, I think they did that and they put the NRL on notice.
Yeah.
What they've done really well this year, the Warriors, for mine, is like they play one of the most conservative brands of football, particularly coming up the field for the first kind of 70 or 80 metres. But this is an era that kind of, demands you play conservative football. The way, because it's all about possession. It's all about, maintaining a role, not handing over the ball in cheap field position. The Warriors just do that really, really well. And then when the opportunity arises, when they're on the attack, they do give away. They do express themselves. They do qualify. So Andrew Webster deserves plenty of credit for that because I was certainly part of the chorus of Luke Metcalf's not a halfback. Really, ordinary coaches just follow the leader. You see that they follow the trends of what everyone else is doing. Just like, oh well, all right, Craig Bellamy does this. Let's just be a Melbourne Storm light. Andrew Webster's developed their own style of play and has kind of backed himself. And I think deserves plenty of credit for that.
You know what, Paul?
Mm-hmm.
There's now only 4 teams in front of us on points differential.
Plus 35.
I think they're a fair way ahead, though, aren't they, Carl?
Doesn't matter. The podcast is done this week. We are done. Thanks for joining us.
I knew he was a big buy when they brought him across, but I think James Fisher-Harris is the most important player for the Wars right now. And the younger guys, the more inexperienced guys, are playing like so well. But I just see a difference in this Wars side with James Fisher-Harris around. I don't know what they do behind the scenes, but it looks like everyone's on the same page.
He's a scary MF.
Yeah,
you don't want to mess with him.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the new Ruben Wiki in terms of the respect he gets at the club.
Yes.
Combined. Like, he just seems like everyone adores him and everyone respects him. And like, what he's doing on the field isn't that spectacular. Like, he's working hard. He's doing, he's not doing anything wrong. But, like, his meters are down. His tackles are probably up a bit. But his leadership must be through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the Bloke in a Bar podcast. They were debating, of all the players that have left Penrith, like, who would Ivan Cleary want to bring back the most? It's got to be the Fish. Surely.
I don't know. Have you seen their centre play lately? I'm pretty sure they'll take Crichton back.
Don't know.
Anyway. Their centres can't tackle.
Anyway, there wasn't even in the run sheet. There was just us being excited, all of that wise chat. How good. Let's
I was just trying to get you into a good mood, Carl.
I'm always in a good mood, Ted.
Oh, jeez.
Origin teams. We're gonna do a full podcast on Origin next week.
Monday.
Like, if you're available, we'd love you to join us. But quickly, Queensland have rung in the changes.
Not the right ones.
Well, there we go. What's your biggest talking point of the changes, Ted?
Biggest? Now that's a difficult question.
I want to keep this tight.
Okay, I'll give you a Billy Joel. We didn't start the fire. Trent Miera at lock instead of Patrick Carrigan. Dropping Daly Cherubins as captain. Naming Cameron Munster as captain. Keeping Ruben Cotter on edge. Leaving Corey Horsburgh out of the team. There's a start.
You've just gone down. You've just nailed my 5 dot points that I was hoping we could cover as a group.
Well, they're there. You got the dot points now. Discuss. You told me to be quick.
So, moving on.
Yeah, Blake, you want to add anything to that, or?
Nah, I'm fine, mate. We'll do it on the Monday pod.
What about? I do want to ask Blake about his old teammate Aaron Woods, though, and his comments about Billy Slater.
Yeah.
You don't often hear that from ex-players to ex-player, but he holds a grudge over Billy Slater's first game.
Yeah, I mean, well, and going back to Billy's words after the game, he said, we have the right personnel to win, we just didn't perform well. So, Woodsy definitely let rip. If you don't know, I think he said, what did he say? Something like, he's a grub.
He called him a grub, and then mentioned him kicking John Scandalis in the head.
Yeah, so
2007 as reference. Maybe earlier. Maybe earlier than 2007.
At least the sparks are flying early. But yeah, nothing else Teddy did not mention. I think it was all covered there for me.
The one thing I was very most interested in is, like, they clearly got beaten for size in the first one. They were just out punished through the middle. I have no idea how you don't go and get Corey Horsburgh, who's been flying for Canberra, and then beg, we're going to talk about this man soon, Josh Papali, to come back into the Origin camp. And he may have said no. And they may have made that call. I don't know. But they needed size, so I'm not sure going with Kurt Mann is the answer there.
You could even just wild take that SOS called to David Fafita in reserve grade.
Don't know about that.
Yeah.
He's doing big bodies.
What did Bo Famore do wrong
Yeah,
to get dropped? And for Kurt Capel, who has missed more tackles per game than any other player in the competition this year.
Nothing. Murray Talangi as well. Like there's a lot that I think a lot of people would have changed.
If I was going to bring a reserve grader into the team, it would have been Selwyn Cobbo as well. I think he possibly deserves a crack over. Like, Valentine Holmes playing Origin. Like, seriously, he's lucky to get a first grade spot at St George, let alone Origin. He was disgraceful that first game. And he gets promoted into the centres.
How did we go, Carl? Do we keep that tight?
I've still got to go to Paul. You want to say anything?
Well, I think the biggest thing to come out of this conversation is that
Monday's show is going to be electric.
Aaron Woods holds a grudge almost as long as Teddy does.
That's truly saying something.
We'll never forgive McCracken or Dimmick or Smickle Pay. Don't forget that.
Don't mention the filthy four.
What about SB Dub? Is he good?
We definitely don't mention that, Grub.
Okay. Let's move on to this week's top 10. This has caused all sorts of controversy over the last couple of weeks, this top 10 stuff.
At least they were easy to research the last lot.
This week we're going to do... Actually, I want to address... So last week, my vetoed pick, Wade McKinnon. Warriors version of Wade McKinnon as one of my top 10 try scorers being vetoed. I'll have you know, Tim, I can see you laughing there. I had numerous people slide into my DMs saying I was right.
Were they New Zealanders?
They were.
Were they burner accounts?
I also had one of our producers in Australia who does some of the clip cutting for us message me one out on Slack saying you need to relinquish your position as host of this show. Carry on.
Oh.
And he was a Warriors fan too, so this is
Here are a couple of the DMs to Carl. Wally McKinnon, Warren McKinnon, and Heka Lalasima.
Good stuff.
It's been a long morning, Paul. Leave me out of this. Leave me out of this. We're slapping down Carl right now. We're leaving Ted out of this one for 2 minutes.
All right, this week.
Yes.
On the back of Josh Papali's incredible 10 minutes at the end of the game.
Oh, how good.
2 tries.
You've got no idea how incredible it was to some.
The over 46 and a half.
We will talk about that in the betting situation. Let me say, it was incredible to some.
Oh,
maybe some on this podcast.
He looked like he'd been kicking all his life.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
This week, top 10 milestone games / performances in said milestone games.
Oh, yeah. Love
and
it.
this can be taken quite loosely.
Yeah, 100%.
This is your opinion, Teddy. This is my opinion, Teddy.
Yeah.
I took it loosely because I couldn't remember. I could remember about 3 milestone games off the top of my head. So
good to know you dug in and did the work then.
I did. I did the work.
Well, you can start this week then.
All right.
I'm
going to go with my favourite player, Terry Lamb.
Oh, good. I'm glad you brought him up.
Before we start, are we in agreement we're going to chuck Josh Papali in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Right.
Game 300. Yep.
319, I think it was.
Terry Lamb became the second player ever to reach 300 games. In his 209th game, he broke his arm out for 3 months and then played game number 300 at Concord Oval, which I think is a rugby union ground, and West Tigers training base, in jersey number 55. So happy 300 Terry Lamb. And it was later found that he played a game earlier in his bench. His 300th game was actually his 299th game, but this was the game they celebrated. So jersey number 55, off a broken arm, played 3 months later. Beat South at Concord.
Can I just add to that, Teddy? Jersey 55. Funnily enough, we were celebrating Duke's 55th year here at the EAB this week.
And to all of our listeners, they've got no idea what that means.
But,
so let's move on. But congratulations, Duke.
Just on Terry Lamb, he scored 2 tries in his first ever game. That was for the West. and then scored 2 tries in his final ever game for the Bulldogs. There's a nice little symmetry to that one.
Bookended very well. Blake, what do you got?
Just last year, Val Holmes celebrated his 200th game. They beat the Storm 38-30. I know the Storm were a bit depleted, but he went on 20 points, scored a try, a penalty goal, and kicked 6 from 6. So there was a good performance for Val Holmes in his 200th. Hasn't produced that this year, but we look back on the milestone.
I'm just waiting for it. No?
No.
He's staying awfully quiet.
Well, if it's not for me, he was fine a couple of years ago.
Okay.
It's rubbish now.
All right.
I'm not anti-Val for his career. He's had a very good career. He just shouldn't be playing Origin right now. I feel like Dane Gagai.
All right.
Drive by.
I'm going to go for fear of losing this one.
I'm not touching Sean Johnson.
No, I haven't got Sean Johnson here. Well, actually, that's a lie. The one that sticks out to me, and this is because I was there, Simon Mannering's 200th. It was his 100th game as captain, 2 tries. One of them was a chip and chase, and they beat the Knights 38-18 to hand them their 5th consecutive loss. But that performance by Mannering in his 200th was great to watch.
Huge, but you would have got over 17.5 on the Knights in that game anyway.
You're still going to manage to lose.
We're not talking about the Knights. We're talking about Simon Mannering.
Okay.
What year was that?
That is a good question.
I'll be honest, it sounds made up. I have no recollection of this stuff.
Yeah. Go on, use the veto. Use it. I dare you. I'll turn your mic off and you can. The Beast got 2 tries as well. It was a good game. Sunday afternoon. Go.
Benji Marshall, his 100th game. He scored 24 points in that game against the Sharks. 2 tries, 8 from 10 kicking. And I think someone else scored 2 tries that game as well. His name eludes me. I think it was Balake Ishford. Balake Ishford. Yeah.
I don't really get a double. There's probably only 1 or 2. I can't even remember the game. What year are we talking?
How many doubles did you get that you forget them?
Exactly. There's not many. I know there was ones with the Warriors, one with the... Oh, I don't know. What year was that, Paulie?
I wish I'd written that down.
Yeah.
No doubt Benji threw the passes too.
Yeah.
So 2 try assists.
You weren't the only...
Must have been contract year that year, was it, Blake?
There were 3 doubles. You got a double. Benji got a double.
Yeah.
And
what was Benji's clip of every contract? Because he's just going, all right, your contract year, all right, we'll get Blake over every time. Off he goes.
Oh, jeez.
Well, a lot of attack down that right edge because Bo Ryan would have been my winger. So, and I wouldn't have thrown the pass either. So it would have probably been Benji 4 assists.
That was a Benji cutout.
Yeah, 4 assists.
I'm just trying to find some stats on this game. Teddy, what do you got next?
Going back to 1999, the great Cliff Lyons played his 300th game against Wests for Manly. Manly had a pretty tough year that year, 99, but he set up 6 tries, 4 to Steve Menzies, his great partner in crime. 6 try assists in a 48 to something demolition of the Magpies.
Nice. He was one of the greats, Cliffy.
He was one of the greats. You know what? Probably still running around in up north.
It was 2009, I believe.
And you guys beat the Sharks 56-10.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great game. I remember that. Yep.
Tuiaki scored a hat-trick.
Yep. Shark Park. Sunday Arvo footy. Oh.
One of the great untapped talents, Taniela Tuiaki. He was a great player.
Oh, yeah. Who's next? Blake?
I've gone Cam Smith in his 400th.
Damn it.
They absolutely smoked the Sharkies, 8 from 9 goals, a flick pass for a try assist, another try assist added as well, and to play 400 games. I mean, in the middle, outstanding. I think for me, that was just a performance and the night in general.
Where should I go here? I'm going to go Darren Lockyer's final game for the Broncos. 2011 final series. Broken cheekbone, one of the ugliest field goals you'll ever see to end Wayne Bennett and the Dragons season in 2011. He didn't play the next game and they got knocked out by Manly in the prelim. But that was exceptional stuff late in that piece.
Yeah, great game.
Mal Meninga's final game. Teddy should probably remember it as
I
well.
don't remember it as Mal Meninga's final game. I remember it as the Martin Bella game.
Did he drop it from kickoff? Was it from the kickoff?
Kickoff. It's not how you want to start a grand final. I was at
No.
peak fandom. I was 12. I was couldn't have been more excited. First grand final I really remember, and that's what happened. Never forgive, never forget Martin Bell.
Well, Mal had a huge day that day.
Including taking out Terry Lamb with a high tackle.
Yes, I knew you were going to bring that up. And that's
something Terry Lamb would never have ever done in a grand final. Hit someone high, hit someone with a high shot.
Exactly.
Just not his go.
But Mel, just a great way to wrap up a career, Mel Meninga, in that grand final against the Bulldogs in 1994.
All righty, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and Mal is 9. No vetoes so far.
I'm going to give you one you can veto now. In fact, I'll probably veto it myself if no one else vetoes it. I'm going to tell it because it's a good story. Corey Hughes, one of my least liked Bulldogs of all time. Even though he played a long time for the Bulldogs. His last game was in that dreadful 2008 season where we came last, and that grub Sonny Bill Williams left the country and ran away and all that kind of behaviour.
Oh, boy.
Went to rugby union. Last round, Dogs were playing Canberra in Canberra. Raiders, 19.5-point favourites. I, in a very rare situation, an act of absolute bitterness, have backed the Raiders minus 19.5. Raiders Raiders score 52 points. So, should cover the 19.5. With a minute to go, the Bulldogs score in the corner. Score way out left. I think Hasmon has scored. I'm not exactly sure who scored the try. They scored way out in the corner. So they're up by 20, and they cover kick for goal. And my favourite tradition in football is a retiring person or a milestone person getting a kicking goal, particularly a forward. Anyway, Corey Hughes, who's done nothing for Canterbury for 15 years, coming up the step, I thought, this is great. Haz isn't kicking. Corey Hughes will miss this. Haz has got 2 from 6 this day as well, mind you. So it struck me as Haz might have enjoyed the minus as well. Anyway, no one's let Corey Hughes in on the joke. Corey Hughes slots it from the sideline. Final margin 18. Dogs still get flogged. I lose the bet. Corey Hughes is a hero. Everything that was wrong could go wrong that day, and I've never forgotten it.
That is a great story.
Doesn't deserve to be on the list, so I'll veto it.
No. Yeah, I'll play a veto card there, but it's a great story, Ted. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, gee.
Blake, have you got anyone else you would like to put up for the
just when you went with the 2 tries before, it sort of got me thinking. And Ryan Hoffman's 300th game for the Warriors, or played for the Warriors in that game, scored the first try for the Warriors in that game in his 300th, kicked the last goal as well. They won 34-12. He was a solid performer on the day, and another centre for the Warriors got 2 tries. So this centre's just he loves milestone games. So I just thought it had to be mentioned.
Maybe
34-12, great win.
Maybe the 10th spot is Blake Ashford playing in other people's milestone games
and thriving.
I also think from memory that one of those tries was just a catch, run around the post and put down off a Sean Johnson pass. I think he stepped 4 people and then passed me the ball when no one was in front of me. So, I mean, but hey, it was 4 points.
I did try and find a milestone game of yours to get in here.
Oh, no.
And I came across your 100th game against the Warriors, and you got absolutely fouled up by Sean Johnson. 2 tries, a couple of try assists. He kicked about 6 from 6, and you guys got hammered.
Yeah. Yep. All right, so, and I still, like I said to you, I remember my 150th. I don't really remember my 100th. I remember 150th, we got beat by the Raiders. I more remember the aftermatch because I didn't really think Canberra had nightclubs, but, we were there till about 3 a.m. and I
Did you
probably
hit,
got
did you
3
hit
points.
Moose? You would hit Moose heads up.
Yeah, I can't remember the nightclub. Teddy was probably one of them. There was a couple. I did get man of the match after match performance, not on the field. But, 150th in style.
Oh, gee.
I think it's Blake Ashford is the 10th man in here. I really do.
Yes.
The only other one I had, or a couple, but Darren Lockyer's final Kangaroo game. Scored the try at the death. Obviously, they smoked England anyway, but that shocking kick, quite memorable.
Yeah.
Or Ruben Wiki becoming the first Kiwi to reach 300 games. Solid performance, 44 minutes, line break, try assist, offload, 2 tackle breaks. Warriors beat the Tigers again.
That was a. I actually remember that game too. Sunday afternoon at Leichhardt. Great game.
Yeah.
Couple more for me that I didn't put in. Cam Smith breaks Darren Lockyer's record. I won a qualifying final that night as Parramatta. And Nathan Hindmarsh slotting a goal when I think they were down 28-6.
Yes.
And he took a penalty goal on the final side and slotted it from the sideline. I think it was a game between last and second last that year. So.
Yeah.
It's not so much a milestone, but it's about Beaver Menzies, who equaled Terry Lamb's record for NRL games with his final game for Manly. And then I think Manly sort of invited him back for one more game, even though I think he'd gone to the UK, and Beaver said no.
Yeah.
No, if I'm going to break it, I would have broken it properly.
Do it properly.
Happy to share with Terry.
If you add up Steve Menzies' like Super League career and his like long rep career, he'd be second to only. I reckon he'd be second to only Cameron Smith.
I think James Graham would be up there too. He's played
They do play a lot of games over there.
450 odd games or something.
And lost about 15 grand finals in that run as well. Poor old.
The only one won, didn't he?
Yeah. Not with us.
The only other one I want to mention, and I'll probably get booed off the stage, SJ's final game, that performance against the Sharks last year. Incredible second half comeback.
Doesn't his wife with the sign deserve
Yes, that
deserve credit for that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, we've got 9 there. Take your pick of the 10th. I think Blake Ashford.
And others.
And Blake Ashford and friends.
Yeah.
Best supporting actor in a milestone game, Blake Ashford.
The milestone moral.
Good stuff. Alrighty, let's move on to betting.
Oh.
How did we go personally? Teddy, I know you've got a big, I can't say that. Big fan of Josh Papali. Tell us why.
Well, I've always been a big fan of Josh Papali, but he's etched himself into gambling law in my heart of hearts now. Look, I'm a nostalgic man. I thought, they'll try and get Big Papa over here. I'll definitely. So I've backed him to score. It's too soft to back him to score twice. Backed him to score last try. So I'm thinking, all right, this is good. So he scores. I'm also on the over 46.5. He scores to send it to 42. So I'm on a few chats, and it's like, we're all on Papa last try. Everyone's like, shut it down. It's like, is this being a bit greedy to ask for a second Papa try so we can get the over? Anyway, the big fella crashes over again. I'm like, how good's this? And then I text to 46. I'm over 46.5, and then he steps up and I'm just like, this isn't good. I love this. But if I go down, it's a fine way to go down. I love seeing a prop Q goal. But in the back of my head, I was pre-game, I'd heard Ricky Stewart say, and this is why I backed him for any time, because I was saying we're going to try and get him over. He says, he's so skilled at training. He can kick field goals from 40 metres with his left and right. I'm thinking, and I know he's a very good golfer, Josh Papali. So this guy might be an athlete. So I took a deep breath, and he kicked that. He kicked that better than Jamal Fogarty kicked him. And Fogarty's a pretty good kicker, mate. It absolutely, it never looked like missing.
No, just a beautifully struck kick.
Yeah.
He would be first choice goal kicker at about 5 different clubs based on what I've seen this year. So. Josh Papali, one of the great gambling 10 minutes of all time. It was unbelievable.
Well played.
What was he paying to score the last?
$34.
Wow.
What was he?
Uh-huh.
Anytime? Must have been about 6 or 7 anytime.
$8 anytime.
There you go. How good.
So do you want a few other gambling stuff from the weekend? There's some good and the bad.
Sure.
The wires were just fantastic for me. Over, winning, even had a little something on 13 plus, so a little something there. Friday night was a disaster for me. I was on St George. Oh my God, what a disaster. But had Herbie first try, Herbie last try. Got them both at $15. Oh, someone absolutely saved my bacon. In a game I was on the under and the Dragons. It went horribly awry very quickly, which I knew was going to go awry as soon as they went up 2-0. I thought, this is a bad sign here. For those overs punters, I had Tyron Wishart scored that meaningless try at the end of the Cowboys game, so I sent that game to the over, which was helpful. I had Ryan Fox and Yak and Neiman in the golf, so good weekend on a gambling front, which is rare.
Nice.
But did have Manly to beat Newcastle on the under, so that was horribly right. The under, which I think would have got up had they just kicked a field goal, but of course, and I had the last try scorer. I had Tyler Cole, the last try scorer as well, which was, I think, someone who was the last try scorer, and then Ponga scoring a golden point rule, and that's that. Cheers.
I'm going to jump in here because you mentioned the Dolphins Dragons game, and I can't really call it a bad beat or a sick beat. It's just an error on my part. I was scrolling through some of the power plays, and I really like the power plays, team whatever, to score 10 plus, 12 plus in each half. And I thought I saw the Dolphins to score 10 plus points in each half at $3. And so Kate Tyler's loaded up here. Didn't watch the whole game, ended up going to bed, got up in the morning, saw the score, watched the highlights. I'm like, how am I going to spend this money? How am I going to spend this money? Open the TAB account and there's no money in there. And I thought, what the hell? I was like, I'm sure I put that bet on. Turns out Dolphins and Dragons both start with D. And old Mac can't read properly. It's right back the Dragons to score 10 plus points in each half instead of the Dolphins.
The glasses not on, eh?
Glasses were not on, so I was disappointed. But we made it back with the Warriors, so I got lucky.
One of them's got fins. One of them's got wings.
Yeah.
I'll stay in that game there because I'm going to say 3 or 4 of my multis, I had like the same games, but then I had over the weekend a couple of things, and it's not the worst, but I missed by one leg, and I got a refund on it to Pelotu, so went off injured. Got the refunds. I'm happy with the refund, but when you see green ticks for the rest of the same game multi and the multi, and you see what could have eventuated to, it sort of feels like it's a loss.
I actually hate that refund. I'd rather not get the refund back because it just drives me absolutely. I'm with you. Nuts. Like, it's a good thing to do, and well done, Tab. Well done, every other bookie. You gave the money back, but it drives you absolutely. What do you play? 10 minutes?
Yep.
Oh, I was the same.
And and it just meant that I had more money, obviously, to go and put on the Storm like I did last week, over 41 points or more, and 30-0 up on the goal line. They decided to take the 2 with about 10 minutes to go, which would have been a try, and then they eventually score again, which would have got me over the 41. But for some reason, the Storm haven't put it together yet to get over the 41 in the last 2 weeks. So, yeah, look, wasn't the best weekend, but we bounced back.
Mighty, how'd you go?
Shit.
Wow. Okay. One more that I forgot that I had. This is no one cares about the good news stories, but in the last at Eagle Farm, Zazu, I think is the horse's name.
It is.
Inside of the track, won by a fraction of a hair on the nose. Incredible scenes in the Tiley household.
And when the caller called it home,
yes,
it looked like he'd messed up because he backtracked a little bit. He's going, not sure about it. It's like, this never goes your way. When the caller starts backing it up, I thought we're in all sorts here.
Yeah. No, that was a good watch. Paul, how do we go on the pod?
Oh, boy.
I know I went shockingly.
Yeah, not as good.
Shout out to the Knights.
So, of the 20 bets that we all placed on the pod, We had 3 successful bets, I think.
Ouch.
Let's go. We'll start with Blake, seeing he's there. Blake, you had as your best bet Storm over 32.5 at $1.94. Nice. That was a win. You had Cobbo to be first, second, or third try scorer. Well, that didn't happen.
So is that refund back into the?
Oh, like Teddy said, you'd rather not have the refund. So you didn't get a refund from me. You would have from the TAB. Your same game multi, Coates 2 or more tries, Anderson to score a try, and the Storm 13 or more. No. And then your anything bet, Anderson to be Anderson, RTS, Johnston, and Lomax to be the first, second, or third try scorer in their.
Yeah, I went
He's
for
throwing
glory.
the stops there.
I went for glory. Like I'm sitting the top. I was the top of the leaderboard, so I thought, why not extend the lead? Let's go for glory. Let's really give them something to chase, and it didn't work out.
That was
The
paying
bold front running effort.
$246.
Yeah.
I did that,
No good.
I did that last year, Blake. I got out to, I was 1,000 up for the year. And by the end of the season, I think I finished about 100 up. So just be wary.
He's up.
So Blake was down $53 for the week, and he is up $550.25.
He's coming back to the pack.
Surly, who was on the show last week, he was our most successful punter last week. He had the Waz as his best bet at $2.65. He had Herbie Farnworth to score a try at $2.20. That was also successful. His same game multi, Manly to win, Folalo to score a try, and Ben Travojevic to score a try, no good. And then he had a Farnworth, KL Edor to score a try, and RTS to score a try.
Oh.
So unfortunately, RTS did not salute. Hey, he was up 92.50 for the week, and he is down 77.25 for the season. Carl?
So that's our 3 bets.
Yeah, no, I was doing the maths myself. Thinking, this isn't good for me.
There were 4 successful bets.
Oh,
Yeah. Carl, Knights under 17.5, no good. Jack Whiten to score a try, no good. Waz plus 6.5, over 45.5 in the game, and RTS to score a try.
just give him the ball.
And then you had the Titans.
I've been saying it all year, Carl. Give him the ball.
You had 3 teams plus the points. Titans plus, well, you fell over there.
Thanks, fellas.
Waz plus and Eels plus, no good. Minus 150 for the week. And Carl is now minus 28.30 for the season.
Oh, I wish I could look at Carl's face right here. Let's get the camera up on that one.
Teddy.
We're going to call an end to this. We can't.
Teddy, Cowboys plus 16.5, no good.
Oh, they were close.
Bo Fermor to score a try, no good. Waz plus 6.5, Metcalf to score a try, and RTS to score a try. I think they were the only 2 players in the back line that didn't score a try for the Waz on the weekend. And then you had the Titans to win as your other bet.
Wow.
Minus 150 for the week, up 328.75 for the season.
I took a same game multi in that Titans game, Teddy, and I went Titans minus into like 3 or 4 try scorers in about 10 minutes. I was like, wow, this is poked.
Yeah, I tore that cash up real quick.
Titans plus the points, no good. KL Edel to score a try, yep. Tamale, Young, and Mitchell all to score tries, no. And then Kohler to be first, second, or third try scorer, and Clayton Folalo to be an anytime try scorer. That was no good. I was down 42.50 for the week, and I'm down 237.25 for the season.
What was Teddy's total? I missed that.
Teddy is up 328.75 for the season. So
Nice.
Blake leading the way at $550.25 for the season.
Good lead.
We'll wait for him next week. I believe it's Paul's 100th podcast, so you'll definitely lift him up.
Absolutely. I'm glad you didn't say my last one, Teddy.
Yeah, you should be performing every week, Blake, because any week could be my last one.
Turns out the Australians know how to punt. Who would have thought?
Well, we weren't brought up on it. It is the same as baby's milk.
Alrighty, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'll start. they're good. We've already talked about the Warriors and how good they were, but my good was their defense, and particularly the back end of the first half where we defended 4, 5, 6 sets back to back and just looked comfy doing it. And it's not something you could probably ever say about the Warriors defending on their line. And then Chance with that stop right on half time. And then again, very late in the game, we're up by 30. Another massive stop. They just dig in, defend. Incredible to watch. Probably, I reckon, the easiest second half of Warriors football I've watched ever. It was so nice. I was so happy. So happy.
It's amazing, Carl? Like they win 16-10 and it's the Warriors don't score enough points, and they win 36-30. They don't defend well enough, but maybe people might start to come around.
I like that, Blake. I like that. You go next, mate.
All right, mate. Thanks for that. Well, mine was Big Puppy. And we already spoke about the game, but mine was more about the emotion on Ricky Stewart when he scored that try. And like he was,
how good was it? How good was it?
If you're a rugby league purist, like you love rugby league, that's sort of what you like to see, like the emotion in the game and the emotion a coach has for a player who's done so much for not only Ricky Stewart's career, they both helped each other along the way, haven't they? And you probably never meet a better bloke than Josh Papali from talking to people and. What a career he's had, but the way he went out in that game and the 2 tries, the conversion we've touched on, but that emotion, I think, sums up what kind of player he is and what kind of person he is to the club. So big shout to Big Papa.
It's very authentic as well. Sometimes you get this and you kind of go, oh, maybe they don't like it, but it's a big game and we're going to put on a show. Like, there was genuine, like Sticky before the game could not stop talking about all the good things he done. Ex-players coming back to honour him in that guard of honour. How he interacted with his family, his kids before the game, and then after the game when people like Jack Whiten going up to him and really giving him quite a big cuddle and stuff like that. I thought it was wonderful.
And you heard Ricky Stewart was like in the press conference afterwards naming all the Raiders greats of years gone by, and he said now Josh Papali is firmly in that, and you cannot take that away from him, which was pretty cool. Teddy, you're good.
Well, I was going to go pop up, but I had a couple here, so I will leave that one, but fully agree with Blake there. The debut of Lachlan Galvin. Just want to kind of make a little comparison. It was just a wonderful backup try, and just was reminiscent of when a young Terry Lamb, who left a club called West and was a backup merchant and scoring tries. Is Lachlan Galvin next Terry Lamb? I don't know. Maybe. I wouldn't rule it out. It was a wonderful start. No one saw him coming on with Toby Sexton going to hooker. Worked an absolute treat. All this talk that, Lachlan Galvin's going to settle the Bulldogs. Yeah, sorry, Dean Bulldog Richie and the Clowns just said she should be playing New South Wales Cup. Yeah, he stepped right in. They scored 18 points when he was on the field after struggling to score for quite a while. Going to be a superstar at the Bulldogs, and he will be playing in the halves for the entire rest of the season, and he's going to be fantastic.
So what with that 18 points when he came on, is that more Toby Sexton and hooker instead of Reid Marnie, or?
I think that was a bit of it. Like Toby wasn't expecting it, but the delivery out of dummy half was much cleaner. I was just like, I don't know, what did you think of it? Like, Sexton was a good hooker. Like, I think there is potentially a role for Sexton and the Dogs next year as a hooker. What I think will happen is Bailey Hayward will be the hooker next year. I think that's where they're moving towards. Like, Reid is 0% chance of playing at the Bulldogs next year, and that's fine. But I do think that I think they will try and I think they'll give Sexton a run hooker. If my money was on that, Sexton will be halfback at the Dragons next year.
Sweet.
You're good. Cool.
Yeah, I was peppy as well.
Right, phone it in. Good stuff.
What about the enthusiasm? Just like one of the great players breaking a milestone game, breaking a club record, and being adored. And just Paul could even rally up a smile, just a puppy too.
Yeah.
Cheers, Paul.
Blake said it all.
Go to my first time. Be bad.
It's also from that game, the injury to Tamale, he was been having a hell of a season. I just feel so sorry for him to go down like that. I hate seeing a player that's at the really playing some really good footy go off. Of course, we saw Mitch Barnett a week or two ago. The same thing happened to him. But yeah, Tamale he's been one of the star players on that Canberra side, and I'm just sorry to see him down.
When I did my quad when we were kicking goals, you could not have been any less interested in the situation.
Yeah. But
Wow,
yeah, I wasn't playing against Tamale, was I?
my bad.
I kicked it from 40 as well. Do you remember?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
My bad. I don't think enough's being said about this. I'm going back to that Warriors game. Adam Fanua's performance for the Sharks against his old club. Legit, like, did he even play? I do not recall seeing it. Like, he took, I don't know how many hit-outs he took. I don't know how many meters he made. Probably 200 meters because that's what he does every week. But he was nowhere to be seen. Nowhere. I was expecting him to come off. Look, Teddy's going to tell me he ran for 300 meters and 45 tackle breaks in a second.
125 metres.
Yeah, see, that's
34 tackles, 0 miss. 48 post-contact metres.
Did nothing.
Probably the Sharks' best.
Well, that says a lot more about the Sharks, but he was nowhere to be seen, I thought. And I thought that was pretty bad.
I think it says a lot more about Carl Tyler than anything else. Just a real little
big
claws are out.
No, I was just expecting a big game from him. Fanua Blake versus Fisher Harris, all that sort of stuff. But yeah.
Well, no one respects bitterness and petty vengeance more than I do, Carl. So I'm fully on board with you on this one. Sure, the stats in the video all disagree with what you're saying, but you stick fat and you hold that grudge, and I love it.
I will. Who's there? Teddy.
Bad. Nothing makes me angrier, and there's a lot that makes me angry. Nothing makes me angrier than the 18th man in Origin missing a game, particularly when it's Matt Burton again. 18th man from Origin should either be playing this weekend or should be picked from a team, one of the many teams, the 7 teams with a bye. They're not going to play. It doesn't even matter that they're 18th man, because if someone else gets hurt, they're going to bring in a specialist for that position, a la the last game when Campbell Graham was 18th man, and they had other players on standby for Payne Haas and whatnot. Absolutely ridiculous that Matt Burton will miss this weekend. To be 18th man again. Ridiculous.
In the Nick Tedeschi words, though, you do have the next Terry Lamb, don't you? So
we do, and we're going to see.
Matter.
Well, but Terry Lamb used to like playing with Craig Polamalu. Terry Lamb didn't necessarily want to go play with a Peter Wheeler all the time either.
He's making up names now.
Yeah. What was your bad, Blake?
Mine was the game-changing penalty in the Panthers-Tigers game. Now, I'm all for protecting halfbacks, but Jerome Luai, obviously he did get a bit heated and he was trying to do a lot for his team, but he tackled him clearly. Now, I don't know if it was the ref or Touchy who made the call, but you've got to have vision. You've got to have your instincts that the ball was still on his foot or you're still in the motion of kicking it while he was tackled. And the Panthers went down, kicked 2 points, end of the game. I mean, the Tigers could have had a conversion to try and tie the game up in the end. So pretty big call, pretty bad decision from the referee or touch judge, whoever made that call.
Disgraceful. That was a disgraceful decision. Like, pretty much, like what did Jamie Soward say afterwards? Like, you just let the defenders know when you're going to kick the ball so you can just stand there. Like,
yeah.
The whole rule was put in place so those horror tackles that happened, like when Steve Price hit Tony Kane and busted a leg, and you're kind of hitting plant legs, or you're really smashing, really running through a leg off a kick that can, condition damage. It's not there for stuff like that. It is just not there for putting pressure on a kicker. Like, it's obscene to the point where I think most opposition coaches would say that shouldn't have been a penalty against them.
Ugly. Paul, you want to keep going?
Yeah, there's a couple of games I want to touch on around the ugly part. The second half performance by the Manly Sea Eagles against the Newcastle Knights. I'm sure Carl was ticking off his bets when the Sea Eagles went into the sheds at halftime, 16-0 up. 16-0 at halftime. And just
should have been up by 30 as well.
Yes, exactly. But that second half performance was terrible. And then the whole game, that the Dragons, their performance against the Dolphins, they were horrible. It's not the sort of performance I would expect to see from a Flanagan coach side. And if Teddy's correct and Toby Sexton is on his way to the Dragons, he could not arrive there quickly enough. They really, really lacked any sort of direction whatsoever on offense. They were just super, super poor. I don't mind the look of that young halfback they got, but Flanagan's not a NRL quality half of mine. He's not.
Can officially scratch the Dragons from the premiership sheet this year too.
50?
50 points on them. They are toast. Teddy, ugly.
Yeah, I'm going to that same game, the Isaac Moses Bowl, one of the worst coach games, and it really played out as you'd expect, with two horrific performances from O'Brien and Sewell. But Adam O'Brien really took the cake after the game. After the Knights got booed off at halftime by claiming the most passionate, knowledgeable fan base in rugby league, one that stuck fat with a team for the better part of the last 20 years that have been absolutely horrid at times. Don't recall him booing Nathan Brown side off once when they barely won a game during that rebuild there. Telling them that they didn't know anything, which he's had to back away from now. They didn't understand rugby league. Anyone who understands rugby league knows how putrid the Knights are playing, and that second half to me is an indictment on O'Brien himself. Because it was pretty clear in the second half that the Knights players just went out and played. They were just like, stuff this. We're not playing any ridiculous game plans and the other complicated structure. They were just doing what they should have been doing a long time ago and getting early ball to centres and hoping for the best. And especially when you go to the game, on the other side of the coin of that one, Anthony Seibold, there's been such strong evidence in the last 5 years that if you do not have a back on the bench and a back gets hurt, you lose the game. It really happens every single time. You need to have a back on the bench. Dragons copped it on Friday night, and they pulled out my favourite trope in rugby league, Damien Cook in the centres, which is always a great one. Ben Trebojevic in the centres is not much better. Ben Trebojevic is a good player. Ben Trebojevic does not have the speed or the footwork to be able to go with Dan Gagai when he gets early ball. And they just carved him up. And absolute stupidity. You cannot do it. Good coaches put backs on the bench. You know what? I always say don't necessarily follow the leader. But you know what? When Craig Bellamy's putting a back on the bench most games, you probably should just follow the leader. Just cop the tip, all right? So I don't mind if it's a back, you can do a bit of time in the forwards, whatever, but you've got to have a back on the bench. It was stupidity. Leo Okawani went down about the 6th minute, and that was that. So, horribly coached game. Adam O'Brien, Anthony Seibold, stunned they both got jobs this week because they shouldn't.
Fair call. Well, fair call. It's tough to follow. I'll just piggyback off what Paul said, because what I had written down was Dragons and common player. So you go to the Roosters when they weren't at their best, they had Flanagan at 7 or 6. You go to the Dogs, similar. Now he's at the Dragons, and it's not going too good. King Tongia shows some upside, like Paulie said, and that Dragons performance, I don't know whether there's anyone to replace Flanagan at 7, or whether his dad would drop him. But something needs to happen because, yeah, they're not performing too well at all. That's
going to be the issue after a Toby Sexton or whatnot. If King Tongia does keep pushing, he's not going to drop Kyle Flanagan, and that's going to be the problem. I see going forward. I reckon there's a reason that there's no halves at the Dragons. So Kyle gets a free run at it. Call it tinfoil hat, but that's my view.
Not you, Ted. Not you.
I would love to.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm belligerent. I'm unpleasant. I'm nasty. I'm over the top. But a conspiracy theorist, I'm not. But in that situation, I'm happy to lend myself to it.
My ugly.
Just looking at the Peter Wheeler stats here as well while we're at it, Blake. 6 games for the Dogs. 95 notes.
Ugly, not super ugly, but just looking at the table after this last week, like the top 4 really separating themselves. The rest of the pack throw a blanket over them. I think we talked about this at the start of the season. Like the top 8 could be, teams tied on points down to 15th kind of thing. And it is that way. Like there's 6 points separating last and 5th. But I feel like those teams down the bottom are so far behind the rest of the 8th. I'm hoping that this sorts itself out and there's separation of the crap teams at some point.
Cowboys are coming 6th with 5 wins. They could still come last.
Yeah, exactly. But
They're not going to, but they could still come last. But
how the Knights are not last, like I would say the Eels and the Titans are a much better side than the Newcastle Knights.
oh my gosh, no.
Maybe not the Titans after that week.
Maybe not the Titans. Yeah, Eels have had to put up with a lot of no Mitch Moses.
With
I want
no-
Eels for the wooden spoon,
Yeah.
and I'm desperately hoping for a Mitchell Moses injury to kind of keep that wooden spoon 21 wooden spoon bet alive. But they're not going to win the spoon if he stays healthy.
I was doing a quick look earlier. I think you can still get close to $2 for the Panthers to make the 8, $2.30 or 40 for the Roosters to make the 8. And
Panthers and Morals to make the 8 from here.
wow, there it is, folks.
Oh,
There it is.
And not because they're playing particularly well, but because the way the season's panned out, they could probably afford one more loss now. In terms of they probably have 3 losses they could have for the rest of the year. I reckon they can probably afford 4 now.
Yeah.
The way it's playing.
All right, we're going to move on because we have been talking for an hour and we're not even halfway.
what?
The grid for Tuesday, the 10th of June.
Did you do all right this week, Paul?
Yes, I did.
Oh, mate, if I don't win this week, I probably won't play again.
I won't win, but they've changed it.
Across the top.
Oh, sorry.
Are you okay? We're gonna keep it tight.
There was a bit of
fellas.
controversy. That's all.
Played for Queensland, played for Manly, played 100+ games, has played for the Dogs, played in 2015, has played for the Cowboys. Teddy, give us your top row, please.
Dogs, Queensland, one of my favourite all-time players, Jason Hetherington, Wizard, 1.17. Manly, Bulldogs, Frank Winterstein, Brain, 1.60. Played 100+ games, Bulldogs, the great Darren Smith, Wizard, 0.39.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I'm not winning this week. The first one, Jason Hetherington, the same Wizard, 1.17. Manly and Dogs, Corey Waddell, 4.05, and played 100 games, Reed Marnie, 1.01.
Good news for Corey Waddell is he's in the all-time worst Bulldogs side. So.
I'll go. Antonio Kafusi, 4.94. Morgan Harper, 2.12. Raymond Faitala Mariner, 0.88.
Steve Price, 7.05.
You're not even trying. It's just a bit now, isn't it?
Solomon Homono, Wizard, 0.86. Willie Talau, Unicorn, 0.29.
Oh,
Oh, nice, Teddy.
Yeah, so he's back.
Yeah, nice
Sit
Paulie.
back down, lads. Sit back down.
You've done yours, Carl?
I have. You go.
Yeah.
Second one.
Played for Queensland, played in 2015. Antonio Kafusi, Unicorn, 0.86. Manly played in 2015. Tom Simons, Brain, 0.52. And played 100+ games, played in 2015. Reece Lightning, Reece Robinson, 0.16. Wizard.
What?
Wow.
Jeepers.
Played Queensland 2015. Dynamis Louis, Brain 1.40. Manly 2015, Louis Brown 1.53 and played 100 games. Jake Granville 0.40.
Queensland 2015, Brinko Lee, Wizard 0.97. Manly 2015, Luke Burgess, Brain 0.69. 100+ games 2015, Manu Vetuve 0.32.
I had to put this guy in here. Josh Papali'i, 2.77. Justin Horo, Brain, 0.76. Blake Ashford, 0.24.
Oh, nice.
So good. I reckon you're going to get me, Blake, because I didn't do so well on this last row.
I'm coming last.
No, you can't, no one loses to Paul.
Yeah, exactly. I've got last place wrapped up.
Plays for Queensland Cowboy John Doyle, Unicorn 0.55.
Jeepers.
Manly Cowboy Glenn Hall 8.09.
Hello, we're back here.
We're back, exactly. 100+ games Cowboy Brain 0.75. I've got 2 Unicorns, 3 Wizards, 3 Brains, and I reckon Glenn Hall's costing me the win.
You didn't even tell us
Yeah,
that
who was the
player
last one?
You just said it was a brain.
Glenn Morrison. Glenn Morrison.
Oh.
Glenn Morrison, great player. I also went John Doyle, Unicorn, 0.55. Great winger for the Cowboys. And Manly, Michael Barney, brain, 1.41. And played 100 games for the Cowboys, Ray Thompson, 0.68 brain.
Ethan Lowe, 2.88. Travis Burns, 4.63. And Murray Taulagi, 0.84.
How was he lower than mine? Jeez. Tom Gilbert, Wizard, 1.22. Peter Hiku, 12.96. I'm never picking Peter Hiku again on the NRL grid. Carl Lawton, 0.87.
Challenge Cup winner now, Peter Hickey as well.
It does not change my opinion of Peter Hiku when it comes to NRL grid.
Totals, please, fellas.
14.2.
Hey, 12.2.
Oi, 18.3.
27. Move on.
Glenn Hall.
We've got. We could pull the receipts on this, Teddy, but I'm pretty sure Paul said this is my best week ever.
Well, it is.
No hundreds is a good week. No red squares.
Let's go head to head. Only 5 games this week. Round the room, Teddy, Blake, Paul, myself. Sharks $1.33, Dragons $3.35.
Dragons.
Sharks.
Sharks. Titans $3.35, Seagulls $1.33.
Titans. Morals.
Excuse me?
Titans. Morals. You heard it. Might be a forced moral. I had to get one in, but Titans morals.
Okay, forced.
It's blown up the whole show.
Nah, Titans morals. Very keen. I'll be back to them.
Manly.
Titan.
I wrote down Manly.
Well then
I'll
say
take
Manly.
Yeah. But now I'm questioning myself. Who's next? I'm rattled.
Knights.
Knights $2.55, Roosters $1.53. Teddy, if you say Knights for the 5th week in a row.
Knights. I didn't pick them last week. I was on Manly last week. That's what killed me.
Unbelievable.
Roosters.
Morals.
We don't declare favourites morals. They're all outsiders, the morals.
Cowboys $2.45, Dolphins $1.55.
Dolphins.
Rabbitohs $2.85, Bulldogs $1.44.
Bulldogs.
Bunnies.
Rabbits.
Bulldogs.
Rabbits. Have we not seen the new Terry Lambs at Canterbury?
Different body shape, but yes, I agree with you. He has the potential to be the next Terry Lamb.
Okay. Let's go through. We'll go through them all. As I said, Sharks $1.33, Dragons $3.35. The line is 10.5. The total 46.5. KL Iro is out for the Sharks, but Mulitalo
Big loss too.
Yeah, 9-game scoring streak.
Yeah,
huge.
And does a lot of work too.
Yeah. What have you got for this game, Ted?
Sharks have dominated this matchup. They've won 9 straight, one last 4 at Shark Park. Dragons have scored 8 on a few in the last 8. Cronulla 20 plus in the last 6. They've covered 6 of 9. But this is a great spot for the Dragons. And I love backing teams off being hammered. And particularly Shane Flanagan teams off being hammered. Teams off conceding 56 plus cover at 70%. Teams off a loss of 50 plus cover at 69%. Dragons cover 57% in New South Wales. They've covered 13 of their last 21 as an underdog of 10 or more. 5 of their last 6 at Shark Park. Love laying big favourites in Origin period. 10 plus favourites in Origin period cover 36%. Double-digit favourites off a double-digit loss any time of the year in the last 4 years cover at 37%. So I'm chips in the Dragons to cover the start, and I think they can win the match as well. I think they're they to win the match. I'm not declaring them after last week's showing, but I'll be backing to win the match. But the cover, great bit.
Blake, what do you got?
Oh, Teddy just said all the stats. You've enticed me into the minus, the plus 10.5 there. But look, I think they would bounce back. You know, we talk about Flanagan bouncing back, but I think Fitzgibbon's got to have a word to his team. And Hiroti hasn't been too bad when he's filled in this year for it or on the wing. So, look, I think that the Sharks back at Shark Park, it's a derby match. They still get the job done.
He'll be better at centre, won't he, as well, Harodi? Because the problem with him is he kept getting exposed on the wing under the high ball. And they're not going to be able to target him as much at centre. So I think there's something there.
I'd like to see the stat. I know the week before Origin 1, Teddy said that underdogs cover at a ridiculous rate. And I think we saw that the week before Origin 1. I think all the underdogs not only covered, they all won.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to sort of lean that way. I just look at the Dragons. I wonder what the stats show for a team that got 50 put on them the week before against a team that got 40 put on them the week before, whether there's a slight even up there. Having a look at the two teams, I do favour the Sharks here. And I look at the bench. I don't see a back on the Dragons bench. I do see a back on the Sharks bench. So if anything sort of untoward happens, that really, really does swing it towards the Sharks. I just like the way that they've been playing. They weren't that good last weekend. I think they'll step up.
Or the week before.
There is no bigger sign you should rip up your ticket than when you see Damien Cook go and play in the centres. Like your bet, whatever it is, if you're on the Dragons, it's over. If you're on the under, it's over. Like, it's game over. Like, you have no chance. And I love Damien Cook as a player. He's just nice. Imagine a young BA fit up against seeing D Cook against him. I would have run rings around him.
Come on, pass me the ball.
Early ball action. Teams off conceding 50 against teams off conceding 40 covers 60% of the time.
So 10.5, looking good. Sharks only need to win by 1 here. You mentioned it, Paul. I think looking at the teams, the Sharks have definitely got the better team on paper.
Have a look at the halves. Just look at the halves.
Concerns that they have been towed up 2 games in a row.
Something's not right with Sharks. There's something not right from on. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it, but something's not right.
Yeah, though. Yeah. I think the Sharks will win. Next one, Titans 335, Seagulls $1.33. The line is 11.5. Total is 51.5. DCE, Turbo, and Saab all in for Manly. But Teddy, you've declared the Titans' morals.
No Lehigh Hopewadi, which should be a concern. That should be a concern for Manly. Look, Manly have a good record against Titans. They've won 5 of the last 7, including last 2. Titans have won 4 of the last 5 on the Gold Coast against Manly, and Manly have typically been a better side in that run. They've covered 16 to 27 since 2008. But the key numbers here for me is home double-digit dogs covered 66% of the last 4 seasons. The Titans covered 9 of 14 in Queensland, getting at least 8 points. They have covered 13 of 23 as a home underdog. Manly, they're a good bounce back team, covered 12 of 14 off a loss, but Origin period favourites, 10 or more, 36%. Manly, 5 and 15 against the spread as a favourite away from Brookvale. 2 and 10 against the spread as a favourite, 6.5 or more away from favourite away from Brookvale. Covered just 1 of their last 6 as an interstate favourite, 1 of their last 7 against bottom 5 teams. Manly played down to their opposition. We saw it last week. Manly, on their day, can go with any team, but they often play to the level of their opposition. Their opposition is dreadful this week, but Des knows Manly. Des knows some of these players pretty well. I don't think they're going to be able to get a lot. I'll wait for a lot. Turbo, I want to see. If this is fully fit Turbo, I'm probably questioning this a bit. We haven't seen fully fit Turbo all year, so I'm very happy with the Titans at the plus, and I'm very confident that they can win this game. So, chips in Titans for them.
Yeah, look, I'm with you on the plus, Teddy. I'm still tipping Manly. Just once again, I can't get off the team who I thought at the start of the year had potential to go to the GF. Hopefully Turbo has come off his injury and is looking good. I'm expecting a lot of points, obviously, but look, Queensland's loss is this game's gain, really. You've got Fermor in for the Titans, which is a big plus, and I think DCE is going to have an absolute blinder. I'm tipping Manly in this, but I do like the plus 11.5 the Tab's giving on the Titans.
The the DCE factor for me in this game, I think. He'd be pissed, he'd be gutted, come back, put on a show.
I just don't know if he's got that in him. I just don't know if that's his personality.
He's playing the Titans.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even bad teams win 5 or 6 games every year in the NRL. That's the joy of the NRL. This isn't Premier League soccer or Major League Baseball. Bad teams still win a good number of games.
Yep, that's fair. You've really thrown me with the morals call. I want to be with you, but I can't. I just can't.
The morals record speaks for itself.
The Titans should have won last week, and they laid an egg.
Yeah. Oh, it was those stupid jerseys the Broncos wore. Put everyone off.
What do you think this game, Paul?
Titans plus 11.5 at home. That's just way too much for mine. They haven't been overly impressive. I do like the fact AJ Brimson at the back. He'll have a roaming sort of commission, I would say, and he'll be slotting into that back line. And I get the feeling he'll be putting on a Tommy Turbo display as opposed to Turbo's not fit. He's still not fit.
They haven't got any.
Hopefully, that roving commission involves some tackling this week because it certainly didn't last week.
It's a high-scoring game. I'll give you the tip.
The Titans haven't got any forwards. They've got no big bodies.
Who do Manly have? You seen Manly's pack?
Yeah, fair.
Manly's pack like aside from Olakawatu, who's obviously a star, might have the worst pack in the comp. But Jake is done. I love Jake. He's stage drop. He's just nothing but a tackling machine now, which is fine. Ben Trebojevic is solid. Tokiaho, what's he, 110 years old? Like he's gone. Ethan Bullimore, like these are just Corey Riddell coming off the bench. Just hard pass on his Manly pack.
Jazz, he's good.
Jazz is good. Jazz had a good year, and even though he's been completely misused by West Seaboard.
Okay, next one. Knights $2.55. The Roosters $1.53. The Lions 6.5. The total 42.5. Jackson Hastings back in for the Knights. I've got a question to ask after you try and convince me, Teddy, why the Knights are going to win this.
Wow, this is going to be the most begrudging selection of all time. This is literally last man up. There's no way O'Brien wanted to name him, which tells me he's probably a good player if O'Brien doesn't want to pick him. So, I've got to be with the Knights. Like, the Roosters have a great record against Newcastle. They've won 17 of 20, won the last draw in Newcastle. Covered 16 of 21, dating back to 2008. But Newcastle covered their last 4 as a home dog off a win. Covered 8 of 11 as a home underdog. 29-8 against spread against bottom 9 teams. Roosters, well, I think they're a much better team. They've got a huge number of outs this week. They've covered just 6 of the last 16 when favoured on the road by 6 or more. 15 of 35 as a 6 plus road favourite, 6 plus favourite overall. Sam Walker's back, obviously a huge inclusion, but they've been playing pretty well with Savala and Smith there. And off an ACL, Walker's going to take time to get back into this. So I think Roosters might be down a step here. I'm on Newcastle.
Yeah.
Not convincing.
Yeah, no, not convincing to me either. I mean, I'm looking at this Roosters team. The last time they had players out for Origin, they beat the Sharks by 44 points. Now, obviously, the Sharks have lost a couple of games since then, but they're versing the Knights here. Hastings hasn't played all year, for a while actually, been in New South Wales Cup. So we talk about obviously coming back off ACL might take some time. I think Hastings is going to take some time just to, even if he is going to adjust to it, or if O'Brien keeps him there and trying to play. He's obviously trying to play for a contract as well. He would be doing so. There's a lot of pressure on him in the halves to come in and try and fix it straight away. So, look, I'm going to what's proven. That backline of the Roosters looks very, very dangerous.
You want to be convinced? One team has a rugby union player, another team doesn't.
Yeah,
3 out of the 4 times the Knights have topped 20 this year, they've followed that up with 6 points. That's your stat.
Fun fact: Nawaka Nitawasi is Fijian for that rugby guy, so Teddy wasn't far off the mark when I labelled him that.
Quick question on Hastings. What happens if the Knights absolutely carve them up and Hastings
has
puts
a
on 4 or 5 tries?
Has a
scores one and
milestone
seven?
game.
Hastings could have 10 tries and 32 try assists and would still be playing reserve grade next week.
You reckon?
Adam O'Brien and the team don't like it. It does not matter. The only way Hastings gets a contract extension at Newcastle is if Adam O'Brien is sacked and half the team leave.
I'm not talking about contract extension. I'm just talking about playing again next week, getting picked again next week.
Well, the pressure will be too much for him not to. O'Brien, for all his faults, is not a complete moron to the politics of football and wouldn't put himself. Like you pretty much, if he drops Hastings, he's pretty much just signed his own death warrant.
Yeah, agreed.
The highlight for me out of this game is if the young Roosters hooker has an absolute blinder and Teddy butchers his name next week when he talks about him. Teddy?
Wouldn't be the first time I've butchered a name. Won't be the last.
Alrighty. Next one, Cowboys 245, Dolphins $1.55, the line 5.5, total 49.5. What do you got, Teddy?
Rotten news for the Dolphins this week. Max Plath out for the year. Tom Gilbert now ruled out for the year. Dennis Saifidi ruled out for the year. So, real tough week for those, and particularly tough week for those of us on the Dolphins to be top Queensland team and top 8. So, upsetting news. No hammer for them this week as well, but the outs are plentiful for the Cowboys too. Bateman suspended, worst possible week for him to get suspended. Nanai, Robson, Connor, Dearden out, and William Voiler out as well, suspended. So, real makeshift team there for the Cows. I don't have a huge amount of confidence in this game, but notable that the road team has won all 4 of those matchups between the two sides. Cowboys pretty good off a big win. Sorry, off a big loss. They covered 6 of 9 at home. Off a big loss, but they are 7 of 13 spread at home overall. Teams off scoring 50 plus is the key for me. Cover at 60% the last 4 years. Teams off a win of 50 or more since 2008. Cover at 64%. The Dolphins, they play well at night. They've got a great positive record covering against top 8 teams. I've got to be with the Dolphins here. Not a swing for the fences, but reasonably confident I'll be back on the Dolphins.
Yeah, no, I'm following you in there with the Dolphins. No, I'm not overly confident, but for me at the moment, the most improved half, or someone, if I'm a kid, or if I'm giving advice to a young kid, I would say go and watch Isaiah Katoa play the 7, because he's like, reminds me of a Jason Smith at 6 or a 13. Everything slows down to his level. So if I've got any young kid, that's where I'd be going to watch Katoa, because everything he's doing at the moment is really laying tries on for his outside men. So until he stops improving and has a bit of a form slump, which I hope doesn't happen, I think the Dolphins can ride off his good form into, higher up into that 8.
Hopefully, a lot like Jason Smith, he's smoking a packet of darts and having a 6-pack after training every day too.
What do you think of this game, Paul?
I agree. I think the Dolphins will just be a wee bit too strong for the North Queensland Cowboys. I know the hammer out does weaken them slightly, but Herbie Farnworth I think he's the best centre in the game at the moment. He's just been absolutely flying. So, and they've got a forward pack, even with those outs that Teddy mentioned. Plath, he's a huge loss for them for the season, but they've got enough there, I think, in the tank to get up and over the North Queensland Cowboys. Dolphins.
I missed the Saifidi news, and I've been holding on to him in my fantasy team. For the
Yeah,
last
I
3
noticed
weeks.
that.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Tough look for me.
I probably should have said something to you.
I think I've got Dolphins too. Last one, Rabbitohs $2.85, the Bulldogs $1.44. Actually, I think line is 7.5, totals 46.5. Terry Lamb, Lachlan Galvin gets the start.
Well, we are very excited about this. Quite stunned by a few people picking South this one. South have got 0 chance this one. They're not winning. Dogs go very well against teams outside the 8. They've still pretty much got missing Crichton Hurst, but I love the move for Carras into the centres and Blake Wilson to come into the side. I think that's a much better move than bringing up Taff, which they did last time. Kept the team pretty steady there. I know they were poor last time. They had a lot of players out with suspension. Last time Carras didn't play and all that kind of stuff. They've got Preston back this week, Curran up front. Losing Max King hurts a touch, but South, I don't buy into South at all this year. They've had a lot of injuries. There's no Cody again. Latrell's out. I think it's a very ordinary side. Dogs 9 and 5 against the spread off a win of 18 or more. They've covered 10 or 14 against sides outside the 8. South, so this is the canvas for me. They've covered just 3 of 13 against top 4 teams. 2 of 12 conceding 36 plus. 2 of 7 daytime core games. Best bet in the game, though, is not the minus. It is the under 46.5. Best total of the week. Under is 15 and 4 in South's last 19 games. 5 and 2 when they played daytime in the call. The under is 15 and 4 when the Dogs are conceding 12 or fewer. 11 and 4 when they're favourite by more than converted try. So, love the under in this one. 46.5 way too big. This will start at 42, 41.5.
Did you say under in the last 19 games?
Under in 15 of the last 19 games.
Oh. Because last week,
hazard against the Warriors game.
Under 67.5 was the total.
I'm with the Dogs, Blake.
Yeah, well, I went the Bunnies, and you named a couple of outs there, but when did the Bunnies look at their best this year? It was at the start of the year when they had this exact team playing. There was no Cody, there was no Latrell playing then, and that's when they snuck a couple of wins in. Now, look, I don't mind Jai Gray at fullback. I think the forward pack for me is, I know Preston's back, I know Kikau's there, but I think that South forward pack is a very good forward pack, especially with Colin Matangi leading it. And for me, it's off a bye. It's on the Origin week. I think the Bunnies can just snag the Dogs. And look, Galvin in, that's cool, but he came on after with 20 to go the other night. There was a lot of energy there about it. He came on, he just played a role. Now you asked him to play 80 minutes in a system that he's supposed to learn in a week and a half. So he could go good, but I'm with the Bunnies on this one.
Yeah, me too. I agree with Blake. You go back to the beginning of the year, and the Bunnies were playing well, and Jai Gray was a big part of that. In fact, he was leading the Dally M's before Latrell came back. So he's a player that can step up to the big occasion, and on the back of that forward pack as well. I just think you take a little bit out of that Bulldogs forward pack with Max King on Origin duty. I think the Bunnies can outmuscle the Dogs, which will give their backline a number of opportunities. So I'm happy to take the plus 7.5 and a little bit on the head-to-head as well.
Throwing the word out muscle there, and they're pretty loose to that fall.
Let's wrap this up because we are
way over,
approaching an hour and a half.
Been a good hour and a half, though.
It has. Nightmare for the producers, but...
Well, if I want to know from producers, how about we delete the start where I couldn't pronounce any Warriors players' names?
That will be the viral social this week. Betting, Teddy, give me your bets for the week.
$50 best bet, Dragons plus 10.5 at $1.90. Try score bet, Herbie, $1.90 to continue. He scored in 7 or 8 straight. Absolute ATM at the moment. Same game multi, under 46.5, Bulldogs South under 18.5, Bronson Sherry try, $5.65. And anything else, a double Gold Coast Newcastle at $8.71. Both win head to head.
Nice. My best bet this week is the Bunnies plus 7.5 at $1.90. Anytime try scorer, Khan Pereira, who loves scoring at Cbus, $2 you get for him as well. Nice.
Wow, that's a great price.
Same game multi is the left edge of the Sharks. So the Sharks to win, Hiroti and Renato Molitalo both to cross on that dangerous left edge, and under 46.5 points I have gone. $6.23. Anything else? I've gone the Streakers multi. So the players that have on a little try-scoring streak, we've got Nwanga Nitawasi, Herbie Farnworth, and AJ all to cross $8.
Nice.
Alex Johnston or AJ Robinson?
Alex Johnson, yes. try scoring streak.
My $50 best bet, the Roosters into the Dolphins at $2.23, just head to head. Try score at DCE, $4.20.
Inspired.
Yep. It worked last week for Whiten. Surely.
Did it? What?
No,
Didn't score?
it didn't. That was a joke. Same game multi. Roosters -6.5. The rugby guy and Dom Young to score at $5.38.
Rugby guy.
And anything else, Roosters -24.5 at $6.20.
Well, I don't even know. We should just bring you on for the Newcastle segment. That's all you care about.
I'm just looking for value here.
I'm stunned your best bet is a Newcastle under points. That was a stunning revelation for us.
They did I got burned last week. It hurts.
You pulled out the stat the week after they scored 6 points or less.
I
I
know.
thought you're really angling towards this.
I'll tell you what will be a good bet. And I don't know the price. I'm going to find it.
Does that score 0?
Newcastle to score a try in the last 10 minutes. So you do your thing, Paul, and I'll...
Best bet, Titans, $3.50. Try scorer, Philip Sammy at $2.85. Same game multi. Titans to win. Khan Pereira, Sammy, and Kohler all to score tries at $29.53. Anything bet? Roosters to win. Dolphins to win. Titans plus 11.5. Bunnies plus 7.5. $8.05.
All in Titans.
Yeah.
Manly 42, Titans 6.
Hey, I got told
minus
minus
$150 for Paul.
What happened to the morals?
No, I'm with you, Paul. I'm with you.
You can get $2.45 for the Knights to score a try in the last 10 minutes of the game.
Really, they bet on that. I'll tell you what, that's an obscure betting option. If it's a betting option I didn't realise existed.
Even for Teddy.
It's a moral. That is a moral. Good stuff.
I think we should have a shout out before we go to New Zealand's finest, the greatest New Zealander of all,
Ryan
the
Fox.
money-making machine, Ryan Fox, heading into the US Open.
Yeah. Shout out Foxy. Go well. Good luck in that.
Legend.
Yeah. And a shout out to Holy Hecker Lecker.
And Hecken and I.
That'll do us. We'll see you next week on the Advantage.